The entire hip-hop landscape just detonated into a state of absolute emergency after G-Unit General Tony Yayo touched down directly in Miami and physically confronted Rick Ross outside an ultra-exclusive South Beach luxury venue, sparking a chaotic, near-fatal standoff that spilled straight into the streets. In what is already being described as the most dangerous and volatile escalation in their 15-year feud, Yayo cornered the Maybach music group boss in his own backyard, aggressively demanding answers for Ross leaking fabricated shipping manifests and publicly mocking 50 Cent's record-breaking G-Unit footwear relaunch. The shocking visual of private security details drawing weapons, bystanders diving behind velvet ropes in sheer terror, and Tony Yayo openly declaring that Ross's protection in the city of Miami has officially expired has completely broken the internet and sent shockwaves through the music industry. Stay locked in until the final second of this broadcast, because the leaked 4K security footage, the explosive street-level audio, and the midnight emergency lockdown at Ross's compound prove that this war has officially crossed the point of no return. To truly understand why Tony Yayo boarded a private charter flight to South Florida and tracked down Rick Ross Roberts in the heart of Miami, you have to look back at 15 years of unrelenting street tension, bruised egos, and a loyalty code that corporate boardrooms could never break. For over a decade, Curtis, 50 Cent, Jackson, and Rick Ross have waged a multi-front war that spanned rap records, social media takedowns, and, most recently, high-stakes corporate financial warfare. From 50 Cent purchasing the mortgage on Ross's Fayetteville estate, to Ross leaking unredacted international shipping manifests to expose G-Unit's warehouse inventory logistics, this feud had long since transcended standard hip-hop competition. It had become a bitter, personal vendetta where every single move was designed to publicly humiliate the other. However, while 50 Cent played the role of the master corporate strategist, wielding debt notes, customs documents, and algorithmic trolling, there has always been an unpredictable, raw street element standing right beside him: the legendary Tony Yayo. As one of G-Unit's original foundational pillars and 50 Cent's most fiercely loyal soldiers, Tony Yayo has spent his entire life protecting the brand's honor in the trenches. While 50 Cent operated on Wall Street and in Hollywood executive suites, Yayo monitored the streets, ensuring that no one ever crossed the line without paying a physical toll. When Rick Ross stepped out of line during the recent G-Unit sneaker launch, orchestrating a massive viral campaign that accused 50 Cent of faking his sold-out numbers, hoarding inventory in New Jersey warehouses, and engineering fake bot purchases, it wasn't just a corporate critique to the G-Unit camp. It was an act of extreme disrespect against the legacy they built from scratch. According to explosive leaked reports from confidential security insiders in New York and Miami, 50 Cent's corporate counterattacks were only half the battle. While the legal teams and forensic accountants were tying up court dockets with foreclosure notices and shipping audits, Tony Yayo viewed Ross's public mockery of the sneaker empire as a direct challenge that could not be settled with a spreadsheet. For days, whisper networks across the East Coast hip-hop underground buzzed with rumors that G-Unit loyalists were plotting a physical response. Ross had spent years cementing his image as the untouchable biggest boss of Miami, flaunting his luxury car shows, his waterfront estates, and his unyielding grip on South Florida culture. To Ross, Miami was his impenetrable fortress, a city where his word was law and where no rival crew could ever dare to challenge his physical presence. That illusion of invincibility was precisely what Tony Yayo intended to shatter. Eyewitnesses and insider flight manifests confirmed that Yayo touched down at Miami Opa-locka Executive Airport under a shroud of absolute secrecy, accompanied by an independent media production team and a tight-knit tactical security detail. Their mission was direct, unyielding, and terrifyingly simple: confront Rick Ross face-to-face in his own backyard, demand an immediate, on-camera retraction of his fake warehouse claims, and test whether the biggest boss lifestyle could survive a real-world street confrontation. The stage was set for a collision course that would rip the drama straight out of the internet comment sections and drop it squarely onto the neon-lit asphalt of South Beach. The confrontation detonated at exactly 11:45 p.m. on a humid Thursday night outside an exclusive, high-end private cigar lounge and VIP waterfront venue on Collins Avenue in South Beach. The venue, known as a primary gathering ground for Miami's elite luxury figures and international celebrities, was packed to maximum capacity. Outside the velvet ropes, Rick Ross's signature matte black custom Maybach was idling near the valet stand, surrounded by his personal armed executive security detail. Ross stepped out of the venue flanked by his inner circle, holding an unlit cigar, laughing with local venue managers, and casually acknowledging gathered paparazzi. Suddenly, the calm South Beach atmosphere was shattered when two blacked-out heavy-duty SUVs pulled aggressively up to the curb, blocking the Maybach directly in its parking stall. The door swung open, and Tony Yayo stepped out onto the pavement wearing a vintage G-Unit bomber jacket and diamond-encrusted spinning medallions, flanked by 4 towering security operatives. Before Ross's private guards could react, Yayo closed the distance, stopping less than 10 feet from Rick Ross. Eyewitnesses pulled out their smartphones as Yayo pointed directly into Ross's face, his voice cutting through the blaring street music with raw, unfiltered fury. "William, you got a lot of mouth on the internet when you're hiding behind a computer in Georgia, but you're standing right here in Miami now. Where is all that talk about fake sneaker numbers? Where is all that energy about New Jersey warehouses? You think you can slander Curtis and run around like you run this city? Look at me. G-Unit is standing on your front lawn, and you don't run a damn thing down here." The entire sidewalk froze in collective shock. Ross's facial expression instantly shifted from relaxed arrogance to pure, unadulterated rage. Dropping his cigar onto the pavement, Ross took 2 aggressive steps forward, but his security team immediately formed a human wall between the 2 camps, hands visibly hovering near concealed holsters under their jackets. Ross shouted back, his voice booming across Collins Avenue as onlookers backed away in terror. "You are a broke mascot, Yayo. You're flying coach to Miami to fight battles for a man who doesn't even put you on his payroll. Get these clowns out of my face before they carry you out of South Beach in a stretcher. This is MY City. You have no pass here." Yayo didn't back down an inch. Instead, he reached into his jacket pocket, prompting Ross's lead bodyguard to lunge forward in panic, before pulling out a pair of fresh, unreleased G-Unit retro sneakers tied by the laces. With over 100 cameras recording every second, Yayo aggressively threw the shoes directly onto the hood of Ross's luxury Maybach. "You said nobody bought the shoes, right? Well, here's a pair for your collection, officer. You're wearing G-Unit kicks tonight whether you like it or not." A violent shoving match instantly erupted between the 2 private security details. Pushing, shouting, and physical grappling spilled across the valet curb, knocking over velvet stanchions and sending screaming VIP guests running for safety inside the venue lobby. Sirens from nearby Miami Beach police cruisers began wailing in the distance, threatening an immediate mass arrest. Then came the first, jaw-dropping twist that turned this street confrontation into an unprecedented security scandal. As the physical scuffle intensified, 2 of the primary bodyguards assigned to Rick Ross's personal security perimeter suddenly stepped away from Ross's formation, crossed the physical divide on the pavement, and formed an immediate protective barrier around Tony Yayo. The crowd gasped in absolute disbelief. Yayo looked at the stunned Rick Ross, laughed hysterically, and pointed at the defected security personnel. "You don't even pay your own security team, William. These brothers worked your car shows for 3 years, and you shorted their invoices. Who do you think booked my private transport tonight? Who do you think gave me your exact itinerary for Collins Avenue? Your own security called G-Unit to come collect." Ross stood completely isolated on the sidewalk, surrounded only by his driver, his face pale with shock as he realized his own inner circle security apparatus had been compromised from the inside. By 1:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, less than 2 hours after the chaotic brawl on Collins Avenue, unedited 4K bystander footage of the confrontation detonated across every social media platform on Earth. Viral hashtags including hashtag Tony Yayo in Miami, hashtag Ross Security Switched, and hashtag South Beach Showdown skyrocketed past 160 million impressions, completely dominating global trending charts. The visual of Tony Yayo tossing G-Unit sneakers onto the pristine hood of Rick Ross's Maybach, while Ross's own private security detail flipped sides in real time, was hailed across hip-hop blogs as the most disrespectful physical checkmate of the decade. at 2:15 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. An enraged, visibly disheveled Rick Ross went live on his personal Instagram from the backseat of an armored SUV speeding across the MacArthur Causeway toward his private Miami estate. Sweat was pouring down his face, and his voice shook with volcanic anger as he attempted to contain the catastrophic narrative collapse. The internet is running with fabricated, scripted clown behavior. Nobody intimidated the biggest boss. Those security guards were low-level freelance contractors who were fired 3 weeks ago for stealing property from the Promised Land. Tony Yayo is a 50-year-old errand boy who flew down to Florida on a budget airline just to throw plastic sneakers at a car he could never afford. Miami belongs to Maybach Music Group. If that clown is still in Dade County when the sun comes up, he's leaving in handcuffs or a body bag. MMG does not fold. Despite Ross's aggressive threats and claims that the security guards were disgraced former employees, independent investigative reporters and online sleuths immediately tore his story to shreds. Within 40 minutes, local Miami private security registry databases were cross-referenced with recent corporate filings from Ross's Maybach Luxury Auto Show LLC. The public records confirmed that the 2 bodyguards who shielded Tony Yayo were active, fully licensed senior tactical officers who had been listed as the primary head of security personnel on Ross's personal payroll just 48 hours earlier. Then came the second, mind-shattering twist that turned this street confrontation into an all-out corporate and legal bloodbath. At 3:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, a leaked digital audio recording surfaced on major entertainment watchdogs, capturing an emergency conference call that had taken place inside a high-security G-Unit production suite just 3 hours before the South Beach ambush. The audio revealed that Tony Yayo's physical confrontation wasn't just a spontaneous street check. It was the opening phase of a multi-million-dollar corporate execution planned directly by 50 Cent. On the recording, 50 Cent's voice echoed with cold, calculating precision. "Listen to me, Yayo." Ross thinks he can hide behind his fake, bigger boss image in Miami while paying bloggers to leak fake warehouse stories about our sneaker drop. The private security agency he uses for his Florida operations has $500,000 in unpaid back invoices that Ross defaulted on last month. "I bought out that security agency's parent firm yesterday afternoon through Sire Tactical Assets. When you land on Collins Avenue, his own security team is already answering to our payroll. Walk right up to his car, hand him his shoes, and let him see that G-Unit owns the ground he walks on." The internet completely collapsed in sheer disbelief. 50 Cent hadn't just sent Tony Yayo to confront Rick Ross. He had literally acquired the corporate security company that protected Rick Ross's life, turned his own bodyguards against him, and orchestrated the entire public humiliation in the heart of South Florida. To make matters even more catastrophic for the MMG camp, local Miami Beach Police Department incident logs leaked online at 4:15 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. The report revealed that when law enforcement arrived at the South Beach scene, Ross's former security team formally handed officers signed corporate affidavits alleging that Rick Ross had unlawfully withheld over $380,000 in tactical protection fees, prompting the officers to file an active commercial dispute report naming William Roberts as a target of an ongoing municipal wage fraud investigation. 50 Cent returned to social media at 4:45 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, posting a photograph of the G-Unit sneakers resting on Ross's Maybach hood with a mocking caption. "Damn, William. Your own security told you to back up and let Yayo talk. Next time, pay your security bills so you don't have to hire G-Unit to protect you from G-Unit. Big boss looking real small out here." The entire hip-hop industry was left paralyzed in shock. Rick Ross's fortress in Miami had been completely breached, his private security apparatus had been purchased by his worst enemy, and Tony Yayo had just exposed that the biggest boss was completely unprotected in his own city. The live footage of Tony Yayo slamming G-Unit sneakers onto Rick Ross's Maybach while Ross's own security detail formed a protective barrier around Yayo sent shockwaves through the entire entertainment landscape. Within 6 hours of the incident leaking online, the story accumulated over 240 million impressions, triggering ferocious debates across social media, national hip-hop podcasts, and urban radio stations. Across the internet, Millions of hip-hop fans, street culture enthusiasts, and media commentators rallied behind Tony Yayo and 50 Cent, celebrating the Miami confrontation as the ultimate psychological and tactical checkmate in the history of rap beef. At South Beach_Observer, Tony Yayo flying directly into Miami, walking straight up to Rick Ross on Collins Avenue, and throwing G-Unit sneakers on his Maybach is the most legendary street check of all time. 50 Cent literally buying Ross's security agency out from under him is straight out of a mob movie. At G-Unit_Empire_Archive, Ross spent 10 years calling Tony Yayo a background cheerleader, but Yayo just showed up on his home turf without fear and made the biggest boss look completely powerless in his own city. The disrespect is historic. At tactical_hip-hop_analyst, when your own armed security switches sides on camera during an active confrontation, your street credibility is completely over. Curtis Jackson didn't just win a rap beef. He executed a textbook corporate hostile takeover of Ross's entire personal protection. However, an equally vocal contingent of Maybach music group purists, Miami natives, and Southern hip-hop veterans pushed back with fierce loyalty, condemning 50 Cent and Tony Yayo for staging dangerous, predatory ambushes that crossed the line of civilized competition. At 305_Dade County_Loyal, Yayo had to bring corporate mercenaries and paid-off security guards just to pull a stunt outside a restaurant. Rick Ross built this city from the ground up and gave thousands of people jobs. Miami will never respect a manufactured New York clout chase. At MMG_Executive_Vault, weaponizing unpaid contractor disputes and buying private security debt just to embarrass a black entrepreneur on video is toxic and disgusting. 50 Cent is obsessed with tearing down Ross instead of building his own legacy. At CultureWatch_Daily, this beef is spiraling into dangerous territory. Pulling up with armed details and inciting physical brawls on crowded tourist strips in South Beach is going to get somebody hurt. The industry needs to step in before this becomes tragic. The viral incident instantly dominated the national morning radio airwaves and major entertainment broadcasting platforms. On The Breakfast Club, Charlemagne the God and DJ Envy hosted an emergency panel featuring veteran executive bodyguards and celebrity security coordinators to debate whether an artist's personal safety can ever be guaranteed after their private security contractor gets acquired by a commercial rival. Over on the Joe Budden podcast, the host spent an entire 2-hour segment breaking down the legal and physical implications of the confrontation, concluding that 50 Cent had completely rewritten the rules of psychological warfare by leveraging corporate acquisitions to dismantle his rival's street authority. Meanwhile, major media publications like Complex, TMZ, and XXL published breaking reports analyzing the corporate filings of Sire Tactical Assets, questioning the legality of private security firms flipping loyalties during an active protection assignment. On TikTok, memes of Rick Ross standing in shock while Tony Yayo plays sneakers on his car went viral globally, generating over 100 million views before sunrise. The music industry was left in an absolute state of frenzy, torn between disbelief at 50 Cent's sinister corporate maneuvering and terror over what Rick Ross's retaliatory strike would look like. Just when the entertainment world believed this high-stakes Miami ambush had reached its absolute boiling point, a final, mind-bending revelation detonated from inside the Florida Department of Law Enforcement and the Miami-Dade County Commercial Licensing Bureau that threatens to turn this entire street feud into a catastrophic federal legal trap. At 6 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, certified emergency corporate records surfaced from the Florida State Division of Corporations. The documents exposed that the private security buyout executed by 50 Cent's Sire Tactical Assets had not simply targeted Rick Ross's personal bodyguards, it had quietly secured the primary commercial security licensing and municipal protection contracts for the entire annual Maybach luxury auto and bike show scheduled to take place at the Promised Land Estate in just 3 weeks. Under Florida and Georgia municipal event codes, any large-scale gathering exceeding 10,000 attendees requires an active, bonded, and state-certified tactical security firm to maintain public safety permits. Because 50 Cent now controls the very security contractor holding those exclusive event management bonds, Curtis Jackson legally possesses the unilateral power to revoke the safety compliance certificates, which would instantly force local county sheriffs to shut down Rick Ross's multi-million-dollar car show before the gates even open. Then came the move that sent shockwaves through the global music industry. Taking to his social media channels at 7:15 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, Tony Yayo went live from the rooftop of a luxury penthouse overlooking the Miami skyline, flanked by executive attorneys and holding a certified corporate cease and desist injunction in his hand. William, you thought last night was just about a pair of sneakers on your Maybach. Look at this document. G-Unit now controls the security permits for your car show in Georgia and your private properties across Florida. You got 24 hours to issue a full public apology on video for lying about 50 sneaker sales and admit that G-Unit runs this business, or we are officially pulling the security permits on your car show, shutting down your biggest event of the year, and turning all your vendors away at the gate. Accompanying the broadcast was an ominous digital countdown timer pinned to the top of G-Unit's official media channels labeled promised_land_CAR_show_permit_cancellation, MP4. The hip-hop world now stands on the edge of an unprecedented cliff. If Rick Ross refuses to swallow his pride and issue a humiliating public apology on live stream, 50 Cent and Tony Yayo will pull the plug on his most lucrative annual event, wiping out millions of dollars in sponsor revenue and dealing a fatal blow to the Maybach Music Group empire. Will Rick Ross back down, bend the knee, and apologize to 50 Cent to save his multi-million-dollar car show? Or is the biggest boss preparing a massive, underground counterstrike in Miami to take back his city and retaliate against G-Unit once and for all? The clock is ticking down by the second. The tension is at a catastrophic peak, and the next 24 hours will decide who truly rules the streets and the corporate boardrooms. This has been without a doubt the most chaotic, jaw-dropping street and corporate ambush we have ever witnessed in hip-hop history. Now, I want to hear directly from you down in the comments. Did Tony Yayo pull off the ultimate power move by confronting Rick Ross on Collins Avenue and dropping G-Unit sneakers directly on his Maybach? Or did G-Unit cross the line by buying out his private security team? Do you believe 50 Cent actually has the legal power to shut down Rick Ross's multi-million-dollar Promised Land car show by revoking the security permits? What happens when that 24-hour countdown timer runs out? Will Rick Ross swallow his pride and issue a public apology on live camera? Or is the biggest boss preparing a massive retaliatory counterstrike across South Florida? Drop your wildest predictions, street breakdowns, and raw reactions in the comments section down below right now. I will be pinned in the comments reading and replying to the craziest theories all day long. If your jaw hit the floor watching this South Beach showdown unfold, smash that like button immediately. It pushes this viral story to hip-hop fans and music industry watchers worldwide. And if you haven't already, make sure to hit that subscribe button and turn on the notification bell right now. We are tracking every single police report, security movement, and emergency broadcast out of Miami and Atlanta, and the exact second that 24-hour countdown expires, or the moment Rick Ross unleashes his official response, we will be dropping an exclusive, urgent follow-up video you cannot afford to miss. Thank you for watching, stay locked in, and I will see you in the very next video.